get the chat ready and stuff. So how does the history thing work? Like on the because I was gonna have a look at my history on the game because I wanted to see how many points
Yeah,
I got from last time, but I don't know how it'd work.
cool. So there's seasons, right? So every season there's rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So like usually we do it over 5 rounds, but this season we're doing it over 3 rounds.
Okay.
At the moment, we can only because it's not like an actual app. If you download Verdict, you could go deep into everyone's scores and stuff like that. But at the moment, we developed it on like a website just to see if people like it and enjoy it. So it gives us fewer capabilities. So we would love to go into the history of everybody's like fights, but we can't. We have to kind of stop it at the moment uh, after every season, and then when a new season starts, you can look through the history of that season.
Oh right. Okay. So I'll be able to.
So if you make
So
picks this season, like 317, there's going to be Derek Lewis against Talison Texeria. And then
well,
round
I'll
three,
tell you what.
the final round will be Poirier against Holloway. You can look
Yeah.
back through all your like history of fights. But then after like that finishes, there's going to be a new season. You won't be able to see that again. We can see it, but you just can't. So yeah, it's a bit annoying, I guess, but it is what it is.
No, man. I mean, it's quite fun because it's like well, it's like gambling, but not really. You know, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a free to play game.
Yeah.
And if like we are applying for like a UK gambling license now.
Okay.
So what we intend to do is like you can play for free if you want to, but there's an option if you want to put like £20 in, the winner will get the jackpot. So
Oh,
it's
cool.
like a proper league. It's kind of like a cross between fantasy football and UFC, if you like. Because we got the wild cards, they double your points. You only get one per season. So once you use it, you can't use it anymore. That kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's going well. Like we always want more players, but there's we've got like a tiny budget to market it, so
Oh, is it?
we're doing the best we can.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw your. I'm just by the way, just waiting for a few people to join before we get into it. But
Yeah, sure.
but yeah. I saw. Yeah, I saw your post about Ilia Topuria, and I was like, hold on a minute. I'm confused now because I thought you were Charles, and I was like, oh no,
Well, there's
no.
three of us in Silk Pajamas. One's the developer who set up the website and everything
Hmm.
that allows you to have bets. It looks better on a phone, by the way. If you're using it on your desktop, like a few people are, if you use it on your phone, you could see like the actual design of how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we got a developer, we got an editor who's doing all our like marketing and social media and stuff like that. And he comes up with the ideas to do the what to put on socials.
Okay.
So he did that, not really me.
Oh,
Although
okay. So it's
although
like a
he's
team
a
thing.
he's a big Charles fan, like I am.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
I can
okay.
see he was stressing out about
Well,
that.
right. Well, we got we got a few people, and so we might as well start because
Sure.
this will take a little bit anyway, and obviously people can go back and watch it. We got BRG Josh says Bromo underestimates Du Bronk's ability to finish a great striker. Listen, bro.
I think he's 100% right. You are like many other people. You're underestimating like just the the amount of skill that DeBronx has.
Well,
I,
right. Well, let's get into.
we're starting this debate, right?
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off with opening statement. We'll give each other like 5 minutes each max. You don't have to go for five, but just our like opening views about this fight and everything like that, and then we'll get into like the main debate, and hopefully A few more people will join then as well once we've done the opening statements. But do you want to go first? Since
Sure,
you're the
yeah,
guest here,
I
yeah.
don't mind.
All right.
Seeing as I'm the guest, that's
Yeah,
very
man.
respectable of you.
And also
Um,
at the end we'll have a look at the game that you were working on, the silk pajamas
oh, amazing! Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So we
That
can, so if people are in and are interested in seeing, it's kind of like a free to play betting type game for your UFC, stick around and we'll show that at the end. Right. So
yeah,
I'll
mate.
give you. Sorry, go on.
We can make a group for you to play against your community if you like.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, that'd be
you
really
could give
cool.
away prizes. Like we could chip in for that if you think of it like a gimmicky prize, or
Hell yeah,
maybe
hell yeah.
maybe like some of the champion's name could go as a watermark on your videos or something
Yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah. Hey, that
I think
ain't,
that'll be quite cool. You
that is
know.
not a bad idea. Yeah. Let's have a look at that. But right, so we got quite a few people in now. Let's get going with the opening statements. I'll give you max 5 minutes, but you don't need to take the whole time.
Sure.
Right,
No,
so let's go.
I probably need about half hour actually to talk about this, but no, I think there is it's a great matchup, and obviously there's a tremendous amount of hype around Ilia Topuria at the moment, and there should be. You know, he's been like knocking people out left, right, and center, and when like this is what makes opportunities is like the hype behind fighters from a betting perspective as well. I mean, the odds makers are not giving him any chance whatsoever. But if you break it down as a fight, I think like Ilia's got four main weapons, yeah, and these weapons he uses to get his opponents to the point he needs to like then start his real attack. So his like three out of those four weapons are like his jab, calf kicks. He's got his overhand as well, which he uses like in the center of the cage and when it comes to the finishing attack. So he tries to like back his opponents up, get their back to the cage, and then he like blitzes at them. So that is 90% of his knockouts he's made. His opponents have been back to the cage, and that works with Volkanovski. That works with Holloway as well because they're kind of counter strikers. And like you know that Volkanovski just loves to like pick people apart from the outsides, like dart off. He'll like circle around them, get a few jabs out. Like before they know it, they're 3 rounds down in a 5 round of like in a 5 round fight. I just don't think like Charles will let him do that. I just don't think this is like a different step up. This is like his like the best opponent he's faced so far. He's been impressive until this point, and if he could knock Charles out in like the first round, and I'm gonna look like a dummy, but but he's got ways where he can lose this fight, and there's been like little glimpses of like his defensive ability in the last few fights that not his few fights, but in his history of fights that he's had, like against Bryce Mitchell, they've seen like weaknesses. I think like Max Holloway deploying some like avenues. So I'll talk about that now. I think like what Oliveira is going to do, and his way of winning this fight is he's going to meet him in the middle, and he's going to back Ilia up to a certain degree. They're both aggressive fighters. They both like to fight on the front foot. And I think like Charles isn't going to bounce around, circle. He isn't going to do that. He's going to meet him in the middle. And he's got like these like weapons which Max Holloway used to some success, like his oblique kicks and his like he's got more than that. He's got like those oblique kicks, those like nasty knee stomps, you know. Those guys like hate it when that happens. And I think Ilia having his like boxing style, he's going to be susceptible to like receiving those kicks. The body kicks, Charles is going to throw a lot of those. Head kicks, he had some success against Dustin Poirier, and Benil Dariush with head kicks. So that'll be able to like push Ilia back against, get his back against the fence to there, and that's where like Charles could strike. This is such an interesting fight to like be able to watch. I think both of them are going to just clash in the middle of the cage, and then it's going to become a kind of mental warfare. Who's gonna be the first to get pushed back? And knowing Charles and knowing his ways he can win it, and knowing his like fight IQ, I think he's going to realize that if I keep my back away from that cage, that is where Ilia's the most dangerous. If I could just keep my back away from the cage, meet him head on, I'm already taking his advantage away from him. So I think there's like the calf kicks. Ilia's like big weapon is like a calf kick. I don't think he's going to be able to use that against Charles because of his like Muay Thai stance. He's like always really light on that lead leg. He can lift it up. He can use that to like then like knee stomp like Charles or throw knees. He could do so much with that. What else is there? Sorry, I got some things written down now.
It's all right. The just so you know, your 5 minutes is up, but we can get into all the stuff during the
cool.
during the actual thing. Yeah. So I'll have my opening statement, and then we'll just get into it. I won't take too long, and then we just get into it. So I'm Team Ilia. I think Ilia Topuria will win this fight. If you've watched my prediction video for this fight, I've gone with a round 2 TKO KO up against the cage. Like, what do you want me to call you, by the way? Because
just call me Joe.
Joe,
yeah.
Joe, right? Yeah. So, like Joe said, he finishes most of his fights up against the cage. That's what he does. He pushes people back, and he gets them up against the cage. I mean, he did it with Volk, who was at the time. I mean, pound for pound, number one. Everyone was saying, he's the greatest featherweight of all time, and a lot of people going into that fight kind of discredited Ilia's win against him by saying, well, he's just come off that knockout against Makhachev. But now we've seen that Volk isn't actually washed, so it's actually aged very, very well. And Volk's one of the guys that has given Islam one of his toughest fights in the first fight. And, I don't like using MMA math, but, I mean, Islam kind of, he kind of fucked Charles up, didn't he? You know what I mean? So, I think...
But he also sorry, this is your 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we can get into it once I've done. I think Ilia's just... I mean, Charles has been dropped by everyone that he's fought. Well, recently anyway, he got dropped by Poirier, dropped by Gaethje, dropped by Chandler. Even in the rematch, he got dropped by Chandler in round 5, and Chandler looked fucking awful in that fight. From the first 4 rounds, Oliveira was just schooling him, and then even in that 5th round, Chandler still managed to knock him down and nearly get him out of there. Fair enough, with like back of the head ground and pound, but he still managed to knock him down. And I think Charles is always getting caught by these guys, and Michael Chandler especially. He's a small guy. He's a small, compact guy like Ilia, who does throw like powerful haymakers like Ilia does, but Ilia's more calculated. He's more careful. And I think if Charles is getting caught by all these other guys and getting knocked down, I think Ilia's just gonna catch him and knock him down. And all these guys have been too scared to go down with Charles. I mean, you look at the Gaethje fight. He like knocks him down, and he was scared to go to the ground because of his jiu-jitsu. And it's like Ilia's base is jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I don't think he'll be, if he knocks Charles down, I don't think he'll be so hesitant to jump on him. But I do think that his best bet, because I think Charles is better at jiu-jitsu than Ilia, even though Ilia does have a black belt in it. I think Charles he's arguably the best in lightweight in terms of like jiu-jitsu. But what I'm saying is Ilia won't be as hesitant as everyone else who has been. And I think in terms of pressure, I think Ilia's going to be able to pressure Charles a little more. He's got, better striking than Charles, better boxing, and I think he's just going to back him up, get him up on the cage and get him out of there. I think in the first half of round 2, that's what I think. And we'll end my statement there. I've got a minute left, but I just want to respond to some chats real quick because some people have joined in late. Someone's asking me who am I debating. This is Joe. He is him and a few of his friends. They've made a UFC free to play betting type game, and we'll go over it at the end. And he was the only guy that I could find online that was backing Charles Oliveira to win this fight. So he said he wanted to come on and debate. So
I'm a lonely man.
So here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get on it.
I'm in the trenches fighting for Charles. Okay,
He is, yeah.
just, if I can reply to like a few points you brought up.
Right,
One
let's get into it. Go on.
The MMA math. Okay, so Volkanovski and Topuria. Volkanovski looked bad against Topuria. And Islam looked really, really good against Charles. That was one of your points.
I don't think... No. It wasn't that Volk looked bad against Topuria. I think Volk looked good. But what I'm saying is that Ilia was able to, just get Volk out of there. I think was it round 2. Yeah, it was round 2. And a lot of the narratives that I've heard going into this fight, I don't know if you think this, but it's about the height and the size of Ilia. I don't know if you think that as well.
I don't think that at all. I think Ilia is probably a natural lightweight. I think this is actually is comfortable weight in terms of cutting weight and his size and strength and his form. I think that he is similar to Conor McGregor, if you want to draw comparisons, that this is his division. I think if he wanted to go out to welterweight, which he's kind of hinted at, he's probably going to be too small for that. Although I would love to see it. I do think Ilia Topuria is a fucking beast. I'm not saying he's got no chance against Oliveira. Obviously, he's a heavy favorite. Yeah. My main point is this is a bad matchup for him. This is like nobody else he's ever fought before, skill set wise. And going back to the original point, Makhachev, the second time around, made Volkanovski look mid as well. And I think that was because of the preparation that Volkanovski had. It was it
was 2 weeks notice, wasn't it? Like 2 weeks notice.
It was his mistake, and how, in hindsight, how much of a mistake that was. And I think you could also say the same for Ilia Topuria against Volkanovski, their fight. It was too soon for him being knocked out. And I think that does have a big impact on that result. That's no fault of Ilia Topuria, but that is the reality in my mind. That is you could see that Volkanovski was a deer in a headlamps in that fight.
In fairness, when that fight did happen, I did think, bit too soon. But the thing is that even in between though, no, it was the Yair. No, sorry, the Yair fight was between the Islam fights, weren't it? It is because he fought Islam, then he defended against Yair. And then Islam on short notice. Is that right? And then it was Ilia after that, wasn't it?
I think you're right, yeah. I can't remember the actual timeline, but that makes sense. I think he defended his featherweight belt after losing to lightweight against Islam.
Yeah.
But he got... It wasn't back-to-back, basically.
Yeah.
I think that is a question mark over Ilia's win, for me.
Thing is that I would say that, but Volk. I mean, I know it only lasted like a fucking round and a half, whatever. But Volk was looking good though. Like it wasn't like Volk was like in that Islam rematch, he just looked so ploddy and like out of it. But he when he went into that Ilia fight, I thought he did look pretty good. I just think that Ilia's just better, you know. And it's like I've seen a few people also say about Ilia's win against Max Holloway. Well, you know, that was Max Holloway drained trying to cut down from you know being a lightweight, blah blah blah, and all this. And it's like I don't know if you think that, but it just seems to me like people are trying to discredit Ilia to try and make their views on this fight.
I don't think that was a problem either. I mean, like Max, he did drain down to 155, but he's like quite a naturally skinny guy anyway.
Yeah.
I would imagine the weight cut affected Ilia more than it did Max because he
Okay, well
walks
that's
around
alright then.
like a heavier weight. So like, I get what you're saying. It's a bit of a shitty excuse, but it is something to like put a question mark over. I think the Volkanovski comparison is a bigger one than the Max.
Yeah.
Saying that, Max has a dynamite chin. Yeah, nobody's ever cracked it like Ilia. And I'm not saying that Ilia's power is garbage. I think if he catches Oliveira, he will knock him out.
Well, this is
Okay,
so this is really my main point though, is that Oliveira gets caught by everyone, bro. Like he gets caught by even if let's just say that Oliveira does what he did to Chandler against Ilia, you know, 4 rounds, it's just like a schooling. It's like embarrassing, you know. It's like, wow, Charles is doing really fucking well here. It's like, yeah, but all it takes is one crack, and then Charles is down. You know what I mean? And even with like Max, it's like I know you're not saying it, but a lot of people are saying like, well, you know, Oliveira's going to be too big for him. Like Ilia's not going to be able to get close. Blah blah blah. And it's like Max is an inch taller than Oliveira is. I mean, Max is 5'11" and Oliveira's 5'10". And Ilia was still able to get close. And Max is a very, very good boxer. He's a very good boxer, and he was still able to get in close against Max. I mean, who would you say is a better striker, Max or Charles? Just strike it.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I think they're really close. I think like Max is obviously a phenomenon. There. He's a really good striker, and Charles is too. And I think Charles is like again a little bit older, so it's really hard to calculate like who's the better striker, who's going to win. But I think there's like holes in Ilia's defense that nobody's talking about at the moment. And I think like Max had really good success when he fought Ilia, when he actually went forward. When Ilia. He overthrows a lot, and if you can if you can get out of the way, God help you, and you don't get knocked out, and you have the ability to kind of see that he's overthrown and like try and get an advantage on that. I think that is what Charles's game always is, no matter who he fights. He's out there. He has like this motto: bad things all the time. He's out there to like, if I'm gonna get hit, I'm like, that's part of the plan, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna like if you miss, I'm gonna like take advantage of that. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna grapple with you. I'm gonna take you down. If I get you against the fence, it's gonna be a bad time for you. You know, if I get you on the floor, I'm putting my mouth over your hand so you can't breathe. I'm like putting the tape of the gloves in your face. I'm scratching you up. I'm making you look bad. Charles needs to go out there with a mentality, or anyone who fights Ilia needs to go out there with a mentality is like, I want to kill his career. I want to break his legs, you know? And I think Charles does have that mentality, and he'll like shake your hand afterwards.
Yeah.
That's how good Charles is. And I think he is going to be like a game plan that wins this fight for Charles. And part of that game plan is to not get knocked out, which is like the probability.
I think that's most people's game plan, to be honest. I mean, I think people go in with the game plan of, you know what, today I think I'm just gonna go get fucking knocked out.
No, but there's a method to what I'm saying. Is like Charles goes out there with that game plan, and people don't knock him out. Like Poirier was outboxing him for the first round of their fight, but he didn't get knocked out. He goes in with the mindset is like, okay, I'm going to take their punches. Eventually, I'm gonna catch him slipping. I'm going to catch him slipping. I'm going to like take their back, and I'm going to knee him up against the fence, or I'm going to get him down. I'm going to trip him up. I'm going to elbow him. He's going to make it like a really dirty fight, and he's not going to bounce around the outside. So there is method to his madness, but this is a dangerous game when you're coming up against someone like Ilia Topuria.
Well, this is it though. This is it. It's like who hits harder. Like I know it's kind of hard to measure, but if you had to put money on like who's a harder puncher, would you say it's probably Ilia or Dustin? Ilia or to be fair, Ilia or Gage is kind of close. To be fair, but let's just say Dustin for a example, because Dustin still managed to drop Charles. Even Islam managed to drop Charles with a fucking hook.
If you're asking me who hits harder, Ilia or Islam Makhachev, I would say Makhachev.
You think Makhachev hits harder than
Topuria? I think he would. Yeah.
Nah, I'm not too sure about that one. Harder
Don't you
hitter?
think?
Nah, I don't think Islam's a harder hitter than Topuria. I mean, to be fair, based off of from what we've seen, Islam doesn't really go for a lot of like knockouts with his fists, I guess. But I don't know. I from what we've seen, Ilia's managed to obviously not knock out Max. No one's been able to do that. No one's been able to do that. I think that really shows the power of Ilia. Even when Max fought Dustin, at lightweight, Dustin wasn't able to, wasn't able to rock him or knock him out. Same with Gaethje. Gaethje. I think Gaethje did drop him. I don't know why they don't count that as him being dropped. It's really weird. But even Gaethje wasn't able to knock him out. And then you get Ilia.
I don't think Gaethje hit that hard as a lightweight. With his hand, with his legs, he does. But with his hands, he hasn't knocked anyone out for a long time.
So with Gaethje, then, okay, so well, that's fine, but that kind of helps me with my case with more like you don't think Gaethje hits hard, but he was still able to drop Charles. And so would you say that Topuria hits harder than Gaethje then, in your opinion?
Well, this is what I mean. I think like Charles, he is willing to get hit, and I would take Justin.
Do you think he can afford to do that though against a guy like Ilia?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. Against Justin, he gets hit and he like lies on the back. Like, come on then, let's go to the ground. Okay, you don't want to? I got an extra 5-10 seconds of recovery and we're back on the feet.
Yeah.
That's Charles's mentality. But against Ilia, or against Islam for sure, he knocked him down. Charles did the same thing, and Islam just jumped on top of him and subbed him, right?
Yeah.
This is the big question. If like Ilia does that and Charles goes down, I think that is a better position for Charles to be in, rather than being on his feet trying to like do what Max did and circle around his opponent. So I think out of the two options, you stay on your feet, you might get knocked out worse, or you go down and you like try your jiu-jitsu against a smaller guy, and that is where Charles's frame, Ilia's frame, comes into it. I don't think he's like a small lightweight, like someone you can consider, but like where you have that reach advantage is actually in is grappling and submissions, because you can go for like triangles, like dart strokes. This is where your reach actually has an advantage. Like with Ilia, he's always fighting somebody who's bigger than him. So he's been used to that for his whole career, I would imagine. It's no disadvantage for Ilia. But for Charles, if he was to get knocked down, I think he'd be like, come on, bitch, let's take it down to the ground. So out here,
before I respond to that, I just want to let you know that people in the chat are roasting you for saying that Islam hits harder than Ilia. Just so you know. People are roasting you.
Well, like,
you know,
Islam's a welterweight now, and
someone
Ilia.
someone
Okay,
says,
like Ilia,
hold on,
his
we got hold on, let me just let me read a few. So we got, who is this guy? Where are there examples of Islam ever showing more striking power than Ilia? We got lol bro says Islam
well,
hits harder than
he knocked out
Ilia.
Volkanovski, didn't he?
That was with a head kick, wasn't it? That was with it. And then
Yeah, but it's not striking. Is it not striking?
we got another one.
You
Does
talk about like hand punch.
does this guy really believe Islam hits harder than Ilia? What the fuck? People. Oh god. Yeah, I mean,
Oh well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't have a
maybe.
clue what I'm talking about. But I would say if you were to get one of those computers and you had him in, I'd be surprised if Ilia would beat Islam, being like Islam's a welterweight now.
Well, I think that if you hit anyone flush with a head kick, unless you've got a granite chin, you're fucking going down. You know.
But Ilia is it's not all about like power. His precision and timing, and he just seems to find the mark. You know, he like spins guys' heads around. He'll like their chin swivels on their neck. He hits them in like the perfect place. He's so dynamic, and that gives the aura of him like being a powerful puncher. It's all hooks. It's all comes like when he backs him up against the cage. It's all coming from hooks. Like nothing really comes like straight on. He'll like back them up to a place, and then it's just like I'm gonna hit you with like left and right, left to the body, right with like a right hook, and that's where people crumble. It happened with Volk. Happened the same with Max as well.
I would say that he does back people up and he does throw hooks, but I would say that you've got to have power if you're fucking able to knock out someone like Max, who been in the UFC for so long, never been knocked down, never been knocked out. That is power.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said about going to the ground, I think that if Charles does go to the ground, I think Ilia's that. I don't know if it'd be a smart thing to do, but he would be that confident in his ability, because he said that he's gonna. Well, no, sorry. He said he was gonna sub Islam. That's what he said. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get on top of it on Charles and try and submit him just to prove a point. I would not be surprised if he does that. I'll be honest. Do I think that he would submit Charles? Probably not. Do I think he's? But I don't think he's incapable on the ground. I do think that if Charles is able to get Ilia's back, Ilia's going to be able to put up a good fight to try to like not get choked, because like I said, he has got a base in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt and all this and that. So he is, I think, more well-rounded than Charles as a whole in terms of like boxing, striking and grappling. I think he is, but obviously in jiu-jitsu, the longer your limbs are, the more advantage you have. And Ilia's not got very long limbs. He's a very compact guy. So I don't think, I don't know if he would submit him. If he did, that'd be insane. I would love to know the odds on a submission from Ilia. That'd be crazy if that was to happen. But
that would be insane.
But
that would be insane. And to be fair, if he did submit Charles, he would probably be the greatest lightweight of all time, including Khabib and Makachev.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, but
he could be that good.
Yeah, but
put it this way: if Charles beats Ilia, where does he rank on the top lightweights, like ever? Like nobody's talking about this. Everybody's talking about Ilia being like the greatest of all time and stuff. But if Charles beats Ilia, he's got to be like in the top 5, top 4, maybe.
I think he already is quite up there. To be fair, I think he is up there. I mean, he's only. I mean, like he lost to Sarukian. That was a pretty, back and forth fight. Obviously lost to Islam, who's just really good, really good. So you can't really take that away from Charles. But it's also just like, for me, it's the inconsistency with Charles. Like his past 4 fights have been like win loss, win loss, win loss. No, lost win or something, something like that. I think it was like
Well, he lost to Islam.
yeah,
He's beaten
he beat.
well, he beat Chandler
Was
last,
it
didn't he?
Dariush that he beat?
Yeah, Darius. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Dariush, then he
yeah.
lost to
I think
Armin,
he was
and then he
underdog
lost
going
to.
into he
Uh,
was the underdog going into Darius fight as well,
that's crazy.
and he
That's
and he
crazy.
head kicked him, and uh and then did he no ground a pound
Mm.
in round one.
Yeah, that's crazy. But then it's like, then he loses to Armin, which isn't bad again because Armin's good. But then it's like the Chandler fight. Do you not think he looks? Because like, I mean, if you had to compare Ilia to anyone at lightweight, I'd probably compare him to like a Chandler. You know, not in terms of like his fight style, because Chandler's just a retard. He's just stupid. But like short, compact.
Yeah,
You know, really powerful hands. And it's like Charles. He fought a smart fight, but what
I think I'm not
was it
sure.
like? Was it
We
like
can't get
a? Was it like a? This guy's a world beater type of performance? I don't think it was. And like I say, he got dropped in round 5. He lost round 5 somehow. Against Chandler after literally schooling him for 4 rounds. And I think if you're getting caught by a Chandler that's been, by the way, sat out for 2 years, waiting for Conor McGregor to come back, and you're coming into a fight with a prime, undefeated, active Ilia Topuria, I think it's just. I mean, I know styles make fights and all that, but I just don't know, bro. I just don't know. I think Chandler. I
I
think
mean that's the same argument you could have made in 2022 or three or whenever when Leon Edwards fought Nate Diaz and he got complacent for 1 round and got like close to being knocked out by Nate Diaz
yeah,
after
true,
schooling him for
true,
4 rounds. You
true.
know, I think you could argue that he might have got complacent
But then
because he
saying
was like
that though,
schooling him that bad.
Leon Edwards turned out to be a lucky head kick. You know what I mean? Like Leon Edwards hasn't really gone down as like, whoa, that's amazing. And even in the rematch, like he looked good. But then it's like
He did cheat a bit, didn't he?
yeah, he cheated a lot. You know, grabbing the cage, grabbing the gloves, kicking him in the balls, and all this and that. And it's like,
It was
yeah,
questionable,
but
there
then
was elements in that
and then
rematch of
after
brilliance.
that, you know, Bilal just did what he kind of
Yeah,
what
dropped
he
him on his
does.
head.
Then Sean Brady just beat the shit out of him, and it's like, okay, I mean,
I was
I guess
there. I was there for that Sean
yeah.
Brady one.
So
It was. It was
I guess he's not. You know, he's a bit meh, and it's like I'm not saying that Charles is meh because he nearly got finished by Chandler by any means, but if we're
I
comparing
just
the
mean for
two,
that
I
fight.
mean
That fight was
Leon's. Sorry, go on.
right. He was like it was a schooling for 4 rounds. The last round, maybe he got like a little bit too confident and cocky, and like to be fair, for half of that 5th round, Chandler was like better, and then Charles got back on his feet and like pieced him up again. So it was like 2.5 minutes of sloppiness. But
Mm,
that's like 2.5 minutes of sloppiness in a Charles Oliveira fight is like it's expected.
yeah, it is, but this is the question: can he afford to be sloppy against
No,
someone
no,
like
he
it?
can't.
This is the thing, though, isn't it? It's like. So I'm saying he gets sloppy and he gets caught all the time. He's been dropped in all of his recent fights. You know, like he always gets caught. He always gets dropped. And I'm not saying like he's bad or like he's shit because he gets dropped because obviously he wins most of those fights. You know, he beat Poirier, Gaethje, and Chandler. But it's like even you said Gaethje. You don't think Gaethje really hits hard at lightweight, and it's like obviously we don't know what Ilia will hit at lightweight, but he's I would say the extra weight, he's not looking like fat. He's looking mass. He's looking like I don't even know. He looks unbelievable. He looks like he's going to be carrying a lot A
I would
lot
say
of power.
he's gonna be hitting harder at lightweight than he
Mm,
does at featherweight.
definitely.
Um,
And he's
the
got
the
better
question is,
boxing. He's got much better boxing than Gaethje. And if you really want to do some more, I mean, I know you probably don't, but if we all want to do some more MMA math, I know Persian, who's in the chat, likes to use MMA math here. It's like Gaethje isn't as good of a boxer as Ilia Topuria is. He's just kind of like a scrappy guy, and we saw that against Max Holloway, who just dog walked him for 5 rounds and then decided, you know what, last 10 seconds, I'm just going to knock him out now. And it's like he got absolutely schooled because he's not that good of a boxer. And then look what Ilia did to the guy that did that to Gaethje, who dropped Charles Oliveira. It's like, I don't know, bro. It's just, I know it's MMA math, and it doesn't always add up. But when it's that lopsided to Max Holloway against Gaethje, didn't get caught once by Gaethje. Well, no, he did. Sorry, he got dropped once, but he got straight back up. It was more like a flash little knockdown, like knocked him off balance, and then he fell over, sort of knockdown, not like a concussive one. When it's so lopsided towards Max, and then Ilia just round 3 just fucking pieces him up and sparks him, the first guy to ever do it. And then you look at Gaethje, who just got pieced up by Max, who was able to knock down Charles. The only reason why Gaethje didn't win that fight is because he's too scared to. He was too scared to go down. Like, maybe if he went down and gave some ground and pound, maybe he'd have won that fight. Who knows? Or maybe he'd have got caught in a triangle. We don't know. But yeah, I think if Gaethje's able to drop Charles and catch him, and he's not that good of a boxer, someone like Ilia, who's like one of the best boxers in the UFC right now, I think he's going to be able to catch him at some point, even if Charles is winning. I think at some point in that fight, Ilia's going to get him, and I think he's going to get him in round 2, and he's going to back him up. I think he's going to land a nice, crisp shot on the chin. He's going to knock him back towards the cage, and then he's going to do what he does on the cage. Body shots up high, knocks him down. Bang, bang, bang. Round 2, KO. New champ. That's what I think. Double champ. The champ's here. And then Islam's going to have to come back down when he loses to JDM. To be honest, I don't know who wins that fight, to be honest. But I just know that Persian probably get a bit triggered at that because I said that. But yeah, I just think.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that this is a walk in the park for Charles Oliveira. It's going to be the hardest fight that Charles has ever fought, and let's not forget who is a huge favorite in this fight is Ilia Topuria. And my point is that I think if Charles has a good game plan, if he doesn't let Ilia back him up, if he's aggressive, if he backs Ilia up, he's going to have a lot of success. By round 2, if Charles has had a good round, by round 3, if Charles has had good 2 rounds, maybe controlled it. If you were betting on Ilia Topuria, you might be sweating a little bit. Because I think that with the right game plan, he's beatable. He's not this guy that can just touch you and knock you out. He needs to get you in the right positions. He needs to get you back against the fence, and that's his attack. He needs to close off, make you confined, and then his footwork is phenomenal. It's worked this far, but I think beating Ilia Topuria, whoever does it, whether it's Charles or somebody else, if Ilia Topuria ever gets beaten, it's going to be the guy who backs Ilia up.
Do you think that do you think Ilia's even going to back up though? Do you
Well, they meet in the middle, and if I was Ilia, you wouldn't want to give an inch, but he does. It's just it's your reflexes, right? If somebody comes at you, and Charles is always controlled in his attacks. He's always kind of in his range, but not in the opponent's. He'll get hit, but not with a significant punch that's going to knock somebody else when he's attacking. You can see his guard is always up, and you notice it when he's overreached. He always gets caught, and that's when he gets dropped. like he did with like Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler as well. It's like he gets like a little bit too confident. But when he knocked Chandler out in their first fight, it's like that picture perfect like right hand, and his left hand is like right by his chin. He's calculated, and I think it's good. Like 25 minutes is a long fucking time, right? To be perfect. And Ilia's the type of fighter that's going to make you pay for being imperfect. But saying that, I just think it's going to be a closer fight than people assume. I could be fucking wrong, and I could be crying in my bed when Ilia Topuria knocks him out in one round. But that's why we're here, right? It's like opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ilia said he's going to go out and knock him out in the first round. I'm not sure if it is the first. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be the first round because Ilia likes to just. What I've noticed is he kind of takes his time in the first round, kind of like figures
Download.
Yeah, he just downloads data, tries to figure shit out, and then it's like, right, now we can go in like the later rounds. Well, as I say later rounds from round 2. And when I predicted the Max Holloway fight, I almost got it perfect. I said the first round's going to be a bit hesitant, a bit back and forth. You know, they're going to be taking the time. It's a feeling out process. Round 2, Ilia's going to find his groove a little bit more, be more successful, and land more shots and win that round. Round 3 is going to come, and Ilia's going to be landing some big shots, and I think he's going to rock him in round 3 towards the end, and then he's going to knock him out in round 4. But obviously, round 4 didn't come. But
well, you almost called it pretty perfect.
Nearly. I was this close, and I was, dude. When he rocked him in round 3, I was like, no way, bro. I just predicted the shit perfectly. But
it was a great fight, and I think Ilia actually won all 3 rounds, as far as I can remember. I thought like Max not being knocked out, being like good at boxing, finding range, maybe like he could be the one to beat Ilia.
yeah,
So I did pick Max like for whatever that's worth. I'm not like some Ilia hater. I do think he is like phenomenal. But I do think Charles is as well. But yeah, I think like Ilia won those 3 rounds. So in terms of like downloading information, that kind of expired with that Max Holloway fight. And he was able to be aggressive, so that shows like improvement in like Topuria, and he's always improving. This is like why it's so hard to pick fights and like choose who's going to be the winner, because after 6 months or 3 months or wherever it is, they've been training, they've been working on things, they come out like a different fighter. This is like such an interesting matchup. I'm a little bit gutted it's not Islam against Ilia, because that's what we all wanted to see, right?
It's just a shame that Islam decided to duck and run away. You know,
I think it's probably right. Yeah.
Hey, you guys. See, I told you that Islam was ducking.
Ilia, but I think if they were to fight, I think Ilia with his skill, it'd be a super interesting fight. I wonder what the odds would be on that.
Who do you think would win that fight?
Fucking hell, that's a coin flip, innit? Jesus. Why not? Ilia Topuria.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! Also, sorry, I just noticed Punisher, why do I look red? Red light on the mic. Bromo Pink, yeah, man, look at me. I'm like Dana Pink when he gets angry, you know. But yeah, I think we've kind of said all we could say about this. To be honest, I think that well, in fact, how do you think that Charles would beat this?
Would beat what? The fight would win.
Sorry, I meant to say win this. I'm just tired.
How would he win this fight?
Yeah.
Just don't get knocked out for a start. Just try and avoid that like right hand would be brilliant. But I think what he needs to do is where you'll find a Jai Herbert with a head kick, like that is, it might be more luck than judgment, but as Ilia was throwing an overhand, he managed to time a back high kick to Ilia's head. Still didn't manage to knock him out somehow. And just like being aggressive, trying to push Ilia back. And I think that's where he'll get like a lot of success. And that's how he wins this fight. And then just his skill will take over from there.
So what you're saying
the
then?
thing he can't do is getting backed up.
So do you think he's going to finish him then, as he backs him up?
I think he could, yeah. Like, it's not out of the realms of probability that Ilia overreaches, misses, and like Charles can take his back, and like sub him. I don't think, like, people think this is like crazy talk, but it can happen. Like, anything can happen in a fight, and I think like Charles has the skills definitely to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is like the likely probability, but Charles's best chance might come in the first couple of rounds.
So do you think if it goes later, do you think it's probably leaning towards Ilia Topuria then? Is that what you're thinking? Like Charles needs to win this in the early rounds. Otherwise, he's not winning.
No, I don't think that. I just think Charles has more of a chance than people are giving him in the early rounds. Obviously, everybody would believe that Ilia being the knockout artist, that's where his power is early. The longer it goes on, cardio might become a problem, although I don't think it will be for Ilia. But I think that also is an advantage to grapplers when they're quite dry in the early rounds and not like everybody's downloading information in the fight. And I think like I could definitely see Charles taking the back of Ilia in like Ilia overswinging with like a right hand, Charles like ducking under, taking the back and subbing him in like round one. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but I think like anything
round
could.
One. That's crazy.
No, that's not what I said.
Joe thinks Charles is gonna beat Ilia by subbing round one. You all heard it.
If it happens now, I'm gonna look like an absolute king, and if it doesn't, then I look like an idiot. I probably already look like an idiot, to be fair.
Right. Well, I think what we'll do now is we'll do closing. We'll do a closing statement. We'll go again 5 minutes each, and then we'll have a look at the website for your game, and I'll actually place my bets on for the card.
Yeah.
On here. It's not money bets, guys. It isn't like legit money bets. It's like a token based game. So it's like you're not really risking, like you know me. I don't gamble. I don't really like it because for me, I've got a very addictive personality. So if I start, there's no fucking way I'm stopping. So I'll stick to the tokens.
You got an addictive personality. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, I'm autistic, so if I get if I get something that I'm really into, I just don't stop. I just go and go and go. So if I get into something, it's a bad time. Like I got into Yu-Gi-Oh a few years ago. Spent thousands on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's not good.
Yeah.
Like two.
What is Yu-Gi-Oh?
You are?
What is it?
What's Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
It's like Pokemon, but cooler, but not really cool. It's a trading card game, but yeah, I spent too much on it. But yeah, right. Let's get into closing statements. You went first, so if you want, you can go last to close. It's up to you though.
My protection.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, you go first. Show me how it's done.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Right. So, I think this fight comes down to, as Joe said, Charles needs to be perfect. But when has Charles ever been perfect? You know, he gets knocked down. in all of his fights. You know, even against Chandler when he was nearly perfect for 5 rounds, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it, and he got dropped by Chandler. And yes, Chandler hits hard, but his technique is sloppy. He just throws haymakers, and I think someone like Ilia, who's precise, you know, he's like a sniper. You know, he doesn't just throw haymakers with no intent. You know, he's very calculated. He's very careful, and he throws nice combinations. I think he's going to catch Charles, even if it goes past round 2. Like I don't think it will. Even if it goes past round 2, Charles has to be perfect for those 5 rounds. And I think even if Charles does get the back of Ilia or gets him in a what is it? In a submission attempt, you know, I think Ilia's got good enough jiu-jitsu to survive. Even if he doesn't get out, I think he'll be able to fight the hands. You know, he'll be able to kind of maybe get in a better spot. But Charles has got longer limbs than him, so it'll be quite difficult. I just don't see. Let me rephrase that before I say it. I was going to say I don't see any way that Charles wins this, but that's not true. I think if Charles wins this, it'll either be by submission or it'll be by like. But that's not how Charles fights. I was going to say like on the back foot, trying to keep it range, but that's not how he fights anyway. So I think it's just a submission is how Charles wins because of his long limbs. You know, his long limbs. And I think Ilia Topuria, all the people that he's finished, you know, people were saying that he wouldn't be able to knock out Max, but he did. You know, he caught Max. He was able to outbox Max, who is an unbelievable boxer, very good striker. We all saw what he did to Gaethje, and we all saw Gaethje nearly finish Charles. You know, it is what it is, but we'll see this weekend. Obviously, I mean, as Max Holloway says, we'll find out on Saturday night, brother.
Love that.
But I think my final prediction: Ilia round 2, TKO up against the fence as he always does. I think he's going to crack Charles with a nasty punch, send him backwards, you know, on the retreat because he gets rocked, and then as soon as Charles is up against that fence, he's going to be ripping to the body, getting those hands dropped, and then over the top, bang, dropped, ground and pound. I think Mark Goddard's the referee, so we all know what he's
you've looked deep into this. You know, even know who the referee is.
He's gonna be stopping this shit as soon as Charles hits the ground, bro.
It's over. Fight's over.
It's over. It's over. You know, he fucking is, and you know, Mark Goddard likes to stop these fights early. But yeah, but all joking aside, I think Ili's gonna get it done. Round 2 KO. Should be an interesting one though. If Charles wins this fight, I don't know, bro. That would be unbelievable. That would be a crazy win for Charles. I kind of hope he doesn't. Like, I think an Ilia win would be better for the sport because, I mean, if you think about it, if Ilia wins, we can set up Paddy versus Ilia, which is a big fight. I mean, if Charles wins, I mean, who are we excited to see Charles really fight? I mean, he already beat Sarukian. I mean, Charles versus Paddy is quite interesting, but not as interesting as Ilia and Paddy. But yeah, I'll end my closing statement there. Ilia, round 2 KO up against the fence. Right, I'll let you go.
Nice.
Let's go. Do it.
Wow, like Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria would be like such a fun matchup. Like almost, if Charles loses, then I have that to look forward to anyway. Yeah. So how I think this is gonna go? I think Charles is gonna kick a lot of oblique kicks, a lot of like kicks to the body, a lot of head kick attempts. I think a lot of like kicks to the arm. I think he's going to try and take like Ilia's power away. A lot of like calf kicks as well. And I think Ilia's going to have problems backing Charles up. And I think that like after the first round, it's going to be like a big reset. And then we'll see Ilia come out and get a little bit more desperate. He's going to try as hard as he can to like back Charles up against the cage, and I think he might have some success. I think he might even take Charles down in the second round. And then from then on, it's anyone's like guess. Jesus Christ, I really don't know what happens. Like I think either Charles, if he's going to win, is going to be on points or an early submission. So
Charles on points.
yeah, either round 1 and 2 submission or it goes to points, and he manages to win the first 2 rounds and either win the last round or the fourth round. That is my prediction if he doesn't get knocked out by the serious power that Ilia has.
Nice.
So we'll see.
All right. So that's the debate. Thank you, Joe, for coming on. We will just real quick, before we end the stream, I'll show you this website. So it is. I'll just bring it down here a little bit. I'll put it kind of like. I'll put it over me. Right. So, in fact, I'll just fill the screen. So this is the site, okay? It's called Silk Pajamas, and essentially, as you see, I've got 1,000 tokens here. You can place bets to win tokens back. I think you said this season is, 317 Teixeira versus Lewis, and then 318 as well. Is that right?
It's over 3 rounds. Like usually it's over 5 rounds, but this season we're going over 3 rounds, so it's a shorter season. Basically, you have 1,000 points to play with and 3 wild cards, which you can only use once per season. And then you accumulate points as you go through the rounds. And there's a champion at the end of round 3. So it's a little bit different to like the normal picks games, being over like a prolonged period of time. And there's odds involved as well, so you can have the freedom to choose. Like you can go all in on one fighter, or you can spread your points around the fighters of your choice. So yeah, that's it.
And we can also do like a community thing. Is that right? And we can all kind of compete against each other. But yeah, I'm just gonna spread my 1,000 points over the main card. I think I'm going to do 200 each. So I'm going to go Topuria, get 200 points on that. I'm going all in. Wild card, knockout, make pick. So I'll get, how much do I get back from that? So I'll get 116 from that. Pantoja, I'm not going to do any wild card on that, I don't think. I'm just going to get that back. Is that website free? Yes, it is, Punisher. You just got to sign up with your email. Royval, Joshua Van. Who have you got for that one, Joe?
I think Royval by levels to this game.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going Joshua Van.
Royval is really good. I love Joshua Van as well, but I think he is just coming off from, what was it, 316? He fought on the pay-per-view
like June 6th or something stupid like that. It was really. Yeah.
So the last pay-per-view he fought on, and now he's going against like the top dog, probably under Pantoja in the flyweight division. I think it might be a little bit too much for him, but I'm a big fan of Joshua Van. He's really good, and I think he's definitely a contender for the future.
Oh yeah. Well, what do you reckon for Moicano and Dariush?
I think it's a coin flip,
Coin flip.
I like Moicano because he talks a lot of shit. I think Dariush is good, and yeah, I think like the probably the value is on Dariush.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's a coin flip, so you get a little bit more points on that. But
So
You do you, mate. I'm useless at this game, by the way.
it's all right. So I've done Ilia by knockout, and I'll get 116 points for that. I've gone for Pantoja. That's for 80 points. I've gone for Van, so I get 214 for that. Moicano, 115 points back for that, and I've gone for Felipe Lima via points, and I'll get 240 for that. So that's my
By
picks.
the way, let me just tell you, I've seen you use a lot of wild cards there. You can only use your wild card like once per season, so you don't get them back. So just be aware.
Okay.
You might want to use them there if you don't.
Okay, well, I mean, I've fucking used them now,
It's all
haven't I?
for fun. You use them. You can always change it if you wanted to.
Right, well, what I'll do is, if you just bear with me just for a second, I will. There, we're back on stream. I'll get the I'll put the website link as the pinned comment, and people can go and do it. I mean, it's free. It's not real money or anything like that. I think you said you're looking at getting a betting license soon, so you will be able to use real money soon if you want to. But if you don't, just use the points. I did it for 3. Oh, what was it? I can't remember which one I did it for now.
I think you did. You might have played for Sean O'Malley.
No, it's all right. It's just sometimes OBS it just disconnects and reconnects. But yeah, it's for pay-per-views, fight nights, all the cards. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get it done. I'm gonna try and do it for each card that comes up. It's pretty fun.
What we can do, if you don't want to do it, I can do it for you. Is set up a No Bromo league, and then you can invite your community on your Discord or wherever, and they can play.
Right, there we go. We're back on. Right, yeah. Create a community thing. Let me know when it's done, and I will link it on the channel. I don't have a Discord, but I'll promote it on this channel, and if you guys want to join it, then we can. See who's got the best picks. See if you're all better than Mystic Bromo, who picked fucking Yuri to knock out Jamal Hill, who picked Marab to beat Umar, who picked what else did I do? I did MVP to beat Shara Bullet. What else was it? What else did
Bromo.
I pick?
Who did you pick against Usman and Buckley? This is an interesting one to me. I want to find out where you're at.
Nah, we don't need to talk about that one. It's fine.
If you picked MVP against Shara, that's good enough.
I picked Buckley. I picked Buckley. I mean, I don't think that wasn't a bad pick.
I don't think it is either. I don't think it is, but I think this is a similar kind of thing with Ilia and Charles. Like similar in my mind. I might be completely wrong.
Okay.
But I think it's just like Charles is the cream of the crop at lightweight, and he's just getting no respect from anybody. And if Ilia wins, Ilia's that good. I'll take my hat off. He's a beast. But I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle.
Another good pick of mine that's just come to mind. I picked Gary to beat Prates on points.
I picked Prates.
A lot of people did, and a lot of people said that no, Gary's done. But yeah, I picked Gary on points to beat Prates, so I was happy with that. Right, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. What the fuck is that? Hope you enjoyed the debate. Be sure to sign up to Silk Pajamas. It's good fun. No real money, so you're not really losing anything really apart from bragging rights, I guess, or your points. And you say you're gonna set up a little community for us, which would be fucking sick. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll do this tonight.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, go and enjoy your barbecue, bro. You.
Mate, it's been a lot of fun tonight. So thanks for having me on.
No worries, man.
Yeah, sorry if I blabbed on a bit, and if your community hate me, I'll probably.
No.
Probably deserve it.
No. I mean, I've had other people on. Well, one person on this other guy that does MMA YouTube, and he just shouts over people. He just shouts over people to like try and get his points across. So it's nice to have like a civilized debate, and you clearly know your stuff. Apart from when you said that it's harder than Ilia. I mean, that was a wild take, but
I'm never gonna live that down. I was put on the spot, to be fair. I've never been asked that question. But yes, maybe that was a bad choice. But I'm always a bit of a what do they call it? Somebody that opposes
like
the
contrarian.
contrarian. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a contrarian, so
Bit of
so
a
maybe
rage
that.
baiter. You're bit of a rage baiter.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. But yeah, but mate, it's been a lot of fun, and thanks for having me on.
No worries, buddy. We'll have to do it again sometime. Thank you for being the only Charles fan the only person that I've spoke to that's picking Charles.
The champion has a name. His name is Charles Oliveira. Let's go.
And on that note, thank you guys for joining. I think, man, day is it today? Wednesday. I'll be having the podcast coming out on Friday with me and Ricky Blitz. That should be fun. We're going to be talking about all the shit that's been going on recently in the UFC, John Jones, all these new fights and all this and that. It's going to be fun. And then it's the fighter day, isn't it? Then it's UFC 317, the big International Fire Week. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream.